A very, very, very warm welcome to you, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to another edition of Editors Forum. I am Rita Omodia, and of course on this program we get to discuss issues affecting the country and front burners in the court during the week. Of course, it's my pleasure and delight to wish you a Merry Christmas and Arias, compliments of the season, and of course praying for a fruitful year 2020. 2019 has been quite tremendous. We've had lots of activities buzzing on the news space, and we're grateful for the gift of life so far. And of course, I will not be alone on today's edition of the show. I have my analysts in the house who are going to discuss the issues. Now, for this edition, usually we do trending stories that are caught during the week, but this is going to be the last edition for the year 2019 before we enter 2020. So we'll be having a review of major talking points that happened, or rather that were caught in the news space for the year 2019. And our main focus on today's edition will be discussing the human rights issue. We know that in 2019 we've had lots of issues concerning the abuse of human rights. We know of the show arrest case, El Zagzaki, and all the ways that human rights in Nigeria have been abused. We'll also be looking at the economy. We've had lots of issues to talk about the minimum wage, of course, which has been passed 30,000 naira. The governors have said that they would give 30,000 naira minimum wage, but we've not necessarily seen implementation. Look at inflation. A lot of people complain that goods and commodities have increased. The prices have increased. How well has the economy fared in the year 2019? We'll also look at the issue of security. If we look as far back at January, we've been combating insecurity. Talk about the Boko Haram, the banditry issue, and even ways that we try to settle the insecurity menace in Nigeria. It was really a talking point in the year 2019, if we recall. And of course, President Muhammadu Buhari on Christmas Day said that the year 2019 has been a successful year so far. So on this edition, we'll be looking at the year 2019 in retrospect and see how well we have gone in the year 2019. Now, quickly, let's look at what we have for you today. We have our analysts, of course. I would say August visitor, but we're in December. We're approaching January. So good tidings came along the way. Yes, of course, we have Ambrose Iboke. Thank you for joining us on the show today.
Thank you very much.
I want to sing On the Fourth Day of Christmas, Ambrose gave to me. I'll stop there. Wayo man, you want to play Wayo with me? Don't worry, your audience is waiting for the present you give to me on the fourth day of Christmas. You're welcome for today's edition.
Thank you very much.
How are you doing?
Fine, it's been quite a while.
Yes.
Well, nice to be back here, and then we're all glowing. I like that.
All right, okay. Of course, the first timer with me on the show, that Editors Forum, we have Nuruddin Adigbero. Thank you for joining us on the show.
Well, thank you. We thank God for glory and the mercy from January till December.
Yes.
It's not a quite easy thing, but we thank God. The most important thing is that we're still living.
And of course, we're praying for a better 2020. Okay, let's quickly start with today's edition here. We'll start with the human rights. We know that finally they convened of the revolution now, and of course, publisher of Sahara Reporters, Omoyele Sowore, has been released by the DSS. Of course, we know how far the case went. He's released and subsequent detention, invasion at the courtroom, DSS holding him due to different charges, money laundering and the rest. And finally, the federal government said out of compassion, following the directives of the rule of law, which a lot of people have been hammering on, that the rule of law should be observed. He was released. Of course, we also had Sambo Dasuki, who was also released from the custody of the DSS. But let's quickly take a look at what happened on that day. Let's see what Sowore had to say after almost about how many days in detention. Let's hear what he had to say.
Let you guys into a time to talk to the media, okay? Don't worry. Just the only thing is to thank Nigerians. They made this happen. And they should not relent. Nobody can take the people who are determined for granted. Merry Christmas to Nigeria.
Yes, thank you.
Welcome back. We're still on to Editors Forum, exclusive to Galaxy Television, and we heard from him there, wishing Nigerians a Merry Christmas. Of course, we know that there are also pending cases of Elder Zaki, but throughout the year 2019, we've had some multiple cases of human rights abuse. With the release of Shura, how would you say that Nigeria in 2019 fared in observing the fundamental human rights of Nigerian citizens?
Well, for so many years now, Nigerians have not enjoyed the fundamental human rights. Right from the nonsensical police permits needed to organize rallies. This is an anathema to democratic dispensation, but they still insist that you have to get a permit to organize peaceful protest or rally. So that's the minus. Police have insisted. There was this issue of gunshot wounds.
Yeah.
It is not that you can be treated, the police still refuse. That you have to get a police report and all those things. Yet, nothing. Now, the issue of the SARS has been there. A gamut of young men, once they are spotted working together or driving in the same car, what do? They stop them. We had the issues of earlier this year. We discussed about the PPR of Lagos State Police Command saying that it was right to arrest somebody with a heart tattoo or dreadlocks. So these are the human rights abuses that are perpetuated by the very people who are supposed to be protecting the citizens. This is the federal government, the state government, the local government, then the office holders, public office holders, and then the security agencies who are supposed to be the protector of the citizens. So it didn't start today. I remember in 2014, Amnesty International published their report saying that Welcome to Hell. It was a publication, they titled it Welcome to Hell. And it chronicled all the kinds of abuses that Nigerians witnessed in detention. In Nigeria, a lot of citizens have disappeared. They can't be traced. Some of them have been given up. We have talked about the undercover journalist that went to it was Ikoyi prison, and then what he saw. We have seen things that go inside the DSS detention camps. We have seen cases of people who cannot be traced. So what we are saying is that abuses of human rights have been going on in Nigeria endlessly. Now, when we start crying like this is when prominent personalities are now involved. Then we start hearing noise like this. The Dasuki case is very instructive. I mean, the man has been in jail for 4 years, since 2015. The charges that said he was brought in, no, this is not a banana republic. It's a constitutional republic where we have laws guiding us. And you cannot arrest people, clamp them in jail because you feel they are thieves, or you don't like their faces, or you feel you have the power of the presidency or the power of the governor or the power of it. It doesn't work that way anymore. Nigeria of 1984 is not a Nigeria of 2019. But it seems that some concepts and some mindsets that have fixated in the past, that we must do things the way things were done in the past. And unfortunately, and sorrowfully for that matter, lawyers were actually ganging up with the wrong side of the law, because probably they are partisan, because maybe their party is the ruling party, or they have been given one appointment or the other in the present government, or because they have clients within the system and the rest. And that has gone ahead to exacerbate the matter, because we remember when, for example, judges' houses were raided in Gestapo style in the middle of the night. Their fundamental human rights were abused. They were heavily humiliated. These are the justices of the Supreme Court of a country. How much more can you degrade your country? How much more can you assault the personnel of your citizens? And that's what has been happening over the years. So when that started, and the judges were busy applauding, the lawyers were applauding by the right, the other ones were castigating by the left, there was no one voice. So they could easily enter the judiciary and decimate them. And that was what happened. When that happened without being challenged. What happened? They took it a notch step higher and went to the Onoge, the CJN, who is the number one justice in the Supreme Court. Because they have dealt with the others, it was remaining only him. And then they're waiting for him. We are not saying that we are exonerating whatever, that the law judges were not guilty or not. Yes. We are saying that even in Nigeria, the law says that you are innocent until you are proven guilty. So you cannot, on the basis of sentiments, blowing all kinds of money in the air as if US dollars is some cheap money you pick from somewhere, saying 2 billion, 100 million. The way they bandied this money is scary. And do you know, even here last week, one of the justices that was so humiliated, Justice Oguta, I think he was found to be free from all allegations. Around 3 or 4 of them now have been found to be free. So where was the initial one? So you now find out that it was all an attempt to insult them, to degrade them, to remove some dignity from them, to rob. Some of them got retired before their time. They had to go because of the humiliation and all kinds of things. So the hallowed temple of the Supreme Court have been violated in this 2019 more than any other thing. Then when we come to Dasuki, even the ECOWAS court gave the bail. Our court of Nigeria gave bail, and then he was refused bail. Under whose power? So Nigerians at a point got so mesmerized that they said, what is happening here? And then he got to El Zazaki, all kinds of shenanigans happened under his own. Courts gave bail, you say you will not release. Showore's own came. Although Showore came with the bags of feelings and the rest, we're like, forget the role he might have played in bringing the powers that be to power. But again, an injury to one is injury to all. Yeah. Therefore, let us protect the democracy we inherited. Otherwise, we'll just see it go up in flames. And once the judiciary is not there, then there's no democracy. And when he came on board, the DSS went to court and said, we want to hold, because 24 hours you're supposed to charge the court. They went to court and said, we want to hold this man beyond 24 hours. We want 45 days. You were granted that by the courts. You came back after that. Trials have been going on. The court said released. How many times? You refused to release the man. Finally, you released the man. He was in court. You went into the court and violated it. And then some people have the temerity to plant another story that it was state managed. What kind of people are we? So until it gets so bad, is that what we want? So for those of us who love this country, that are not here because of the pecuniary things we are gaining from the political office holders, or we are saying that we should put our hands together to condemn what is condemnable, recommend what has been done well, and critique and offer solutions so that we can move forward. The human rights records of Nigeria in 2019 is a sad reminder of where we had come from and where we thought we have left behind. Somebody just resurrected it, and there we are here back in the jackboot era.
Okay. But, all right, while we're talking about the human rights, I like the fact that you brought about judiciary, because we also had lots of infiltration among the arms of government. I'm sure on different times of the show, we talked about not having independent arms of government between the executive, the legislature, the judiciary. But now we also had the issue of the hate speech bill, the social media bill, which a lot of people were against, as we felt that it was against, or rather upholding the fundamental human rights of Nigerian citizens. But recently we had another issue here, as the United States actually put us on the watch list. And now President Muhammadu Buhari urged the United States of America to ensure that its sources of information on Nigeria cut across all sectors, as some people might provide misleading and manipulative narratives for self-serving purposes, ignoring the larger picture of a united country. Now, he said this because he received a letter of credence from the United States of America ambassador to Nigeria, and that is Mary Beth Lillard, on Tuesday, and said that the recent listing of Nigeria for human rights concerns created an impression that some people were being unfairly treated or marginalized in the country. Now, I would say what from the report that we had, she said the United States will always sign transparent processes. In a statement by Senior Special Assistant to the President, Muhammadu Buhari, on media publicity, Garba Shehu, Leonard was quoted as saying, "There are some people who make things less attractive than they seem. Now, we know that Nigeria has been in the spotlight, and of course that attracted a lot of international references here. We had Angela Merkel coming to Nigeria, now the United Ambassador now saying that Nigeria is on the watch list due to human rights violation. Nuruddin, how would you analyze all this?
At times when I hear people speak on human rights in Nigeria, I always laugh. Because ordinarily, even from inception, we have never been on the good page of human rights in accordance with what human rights is all about. Even from our history, we have never been intended with human rights. Even from military era. Now, look at 2019. This is now 20 years from 1999 till date that we have uninterrupted democratic setting. From 1999 till date. I'm very, very sure from the history, military has never used 20 years on a stretch. But we have a democratic system that have used 20 good years. At least from 1966, when military came in, they used it till 1975. From 1975 to 1979, and from that 79, we have a break of democratic setting down to 1983. When Buhari came in 1983, they ruled in 1985, the Babangida came in to 93, Abacha came in 93, 94 till 98. Before we are now from 1999 to today, we've used 20 years. Upon that, we are still running what I can call quasi-democracy. Because we are not running the full flesh of what democracy is all about. There are some 5 principles of democracy. The first one is constitutionalism. That is the rule of law. Whatever you want to do, anything that is not in your law, you can't uphold it because there is no basis for that. And the second one is human rights. Human rights is so germane in every democracy that you can't shine away from it. If you don't have it, then you are not practicing democracy. And the third one is when you have the right to talk. Freedom of press. And when we say freedom of press, journalists know, for those ones that know about press law and ethics, it's not for journalists, it's for every Nigerian. It's for every Nigerian. The only one that talks about journalism is about chief privilege. That one is only for us. The other one is basically for every Nigerian. Where is it in Nigeria? And the fourth one is separation of power. Where do we have it? In fact, we have an arm of government that will always want to claim to another arm of government to perform its duty. And you have one that has to rely on another hand of government. So, in all ramifications, we are not practicing a true democracy. If what democracy is all about is we are practicing in Nigeria, then in the world there is no democracy. Then in the area of human rights, that's why when people talk about only 2019, I always laugh because it has never been there. Go to, leave the federal, let's go to state, what is happening there? Go to local government, what is happening there? And it's maybe because it involves Showore and other people, that's why we are really, what of Agbajalingo still there? When you have a professor that has to have known that, because when you attend to that, I'm in a economic line too, so if you are a professor, you are deeming fit to be in the apex of educational ladder. Could she think because somebody has to say that you have to give for a particular spending, you have to give rationale behind it and explain it, then that kind of person wants to overthrow his government by mouth. Then, and that is the problem we are facing. Then the issue of Showore, I always say that in a situation that the spokesperson, they don't know how to manage information, then you are going to be having problems. They made Showore to have the kind of sympathy here because they didn't handle it very well. You are working according to the law. He has the DSS has the right to call for questioning or to arrest. And when you arrest, you take that person to court, which you did, and you seek for order that we want to do some investigation, permit us to hold him for so days, and the same court permitted you. So by the time the court now said, okay, leave him to go, you have to leave him, even if you have to arrest him for another charge entirely. You let him go. That's the first thing. Then you can now call him again. We have to charge you for another thing again. So by the time you rely on law when it suits you, and you don't follow it when it doesn't suit you, then where is the human right? Then another one again is that there are a lot of human rights abuses every day in Nigeria. even apart from the political lines, their own is that one is dole. Well, the Hausa will call it dole. It's compulsory. It's there. You can't escape it. But there are some ones that we do to ourselves. Look at what DSS, what is policemen doing? What are they doing? Not all of them, because there are good police officers in Nigeria. As much as you think they are all bad, but look at all the ramifications. When you have money in Nigeria, then you can sit down on anybody's rights and nothing will happen. And this is the kind of environment that we said we are practicing democracy. And that's the reason why there is no way, there is no guidelines, there is no ramifications that we want to look at it. There is nothing called human rights in Nigeria. That is why you see that even the human rights fighters too, they have to lay low because there are a lot of cases. You want to talk about employer-employee relations. You want to talk about the governors and the civil servants. You want to talk about governors and the resident of that particular state. You want to talk about local government and the resident of that particular LGA. Then all you want to talk about in Nigeria in whole cases. Then you discover that we are just running what I would call the animal farm, or where we don't have a structured rules on how we really play. And if you continue like this, there is no way a good country, a good agency, international agency will not put on spotlight. If you are practicing military, nobody is going to be expecting any human rights from you. But for the fact that you are practicing democracy, then human rights is one of the strong pillars of democracy. And this is the kind of thing we are talking about. If we continue like this, 2019 has never been a good year, just like any other years that have passed, because there is nothing there. 2014 it happens under Jonathan, it happens under it's only a year ago that could still be free, but there are some agencies of government that did it even under him. The one of Shivolucho Gomba, so don't even talk about that one. So you discover that whole manner of democracy, looking at 1999 to 2019, then I could say that human rights violations has characterized everything that has to do with our democracy.
Okay, I like the fact that you mentioned the fact that this has become worrisome with international interference. What do you feel that we can do? Because apart from the United States, even in Shore's case, United States had to come in, where we had a senator talking about Shore's arrest. We also had us exactly, Iran had to intervene. What do you think Nigeria should do? Should stop, or do you feel that international relations is beginning to interfere too much, or we have caused this interference on ourselves?
One thing there is there is no country that can live in isolation. Okay. We work hand in hand. You can't live, even as America, as big as America is, it can't live alone. So when you are talking about, if you can collect people's money, you can collect their own charity. If you need funds for anything, if you want to borrow, you run to them. So by the time they want to give the tank attached to all those things, it's just like Nigeria Football Federation in Nigeria. When they want to give budget, they will not go and look for their money. They are running to the federal government to come and give them money. But by the time the federal government now want to say, okay, how did you spend the money I'm giving you? You now say it's interference. What is interference there? If you do the needful, fine, we have the sovereignty. No country can come from anywhere to come and rule our country. But if you are not doing very well, you want people to now tell you are doing very well. So to me, it's not, but to sometimes it has a gauge. If you are not doing very well, everybody sees. It's just like when you are singing. If your song is not good, even to your own hearing, because although there are some people that have hair block, but there are some people that will tell you this particular song is not good. The kind of song we are singing in the area of human rights violation is open to around the world. Did you think all these people, they don't see all what happens? You don't think they don't watch Galaxy? They see all these things. By the time they see it, which kind of record you want us to give? Amnesty International, what did they want? They have a lot of their agencies here. They have a lot of agents here too. What did they want to put it out? They want to say, okay, the way you arrested somebody in court, that the court has granted bail. You want them to say it is good, or you want a particular person, like the case of Dasuki, that the court has set him free severally. You want them to tell you that you've done very well, or how DSS has been killing a lot of Nigerians. There's one that even happened during the Christmas. The one of police. You want people to say you've done very well? No, even if we are lying to ourselves, I'm very, very sure all those foreigners, all those international agencies that keeps records, that take tracks of every news that has to do with violation of human rights in Nigeria, they will never be part of happy with it. And that is the thing. There is nothing called, they are not even invading us on anything, but just know, whatever you are dealing with them, so far you are not living in isolation. You are working in them. You are part of different associations. You should know they are going to rebuke you when you've done something wrong, and when you've done very right, they are going to hail you. You've done very well. In the area of human rights abuses and violations, the kind of records, the kind of marks we are going to have, I'm telling you, if you have a child that brings that kind of record home, then that particular child has not done very well.
Okay.